What kind of rooms you got?
King size.
You got room service?
Donuts and coffee.
Got entertainment?
All rooms have every movie ever made in every language, anytime, day or night.
How is that possible?
Could your business use the bandwidth to change everything? Ride the light. Quest.
So these commercials came out in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I remember thinking, no way this could be feasible. The idea that any form of media could be at your fingertips, anytime, was mind-blowing. And while some will say this isn't 100% the case, yes, that's true, but the fact that we're even within reach is amazing. You got Spotify that basically covers most music. You got Amazon where you can rent almost any movie or show. With Steam and emulators, you have access to most games. And with YouTube, you can find almost any video content there is. As opposed to back in the day growing up, which for me was the late 80s through the 90s. You had the library, you had Blockbuster, you had Sam Goody, you had radio and TV, and if you were lucky you had an internet connection that took forever to download anything.
Oh, Captain Janeway. Lace, the final brassiere. Oh, hurry up, I'm a busy man.
And despite being so limited, I will go back to those times in a heartbeat, because with the bounds of information being so open to us, it also kind of eliminated boredom. With your smartphone alone, you can pump your brain, full of dopamine, and never have a moment of silence or contemplation. And I don't think I'm telling tales out of school. It's kind of thrown us for a loop. Our tiny ape brains just can't handle it.
Society is crumbling, and do you know why? Information overload, man. As a society, we're drowning in a quagmire of vid clips, email, and sound bites. We can't absorb it all.
Because as much as boredom is vilified, it served a purpose. It's necessary. It's like vegetables or working out. Most people would rather lay in bed all day and eat ice cream by the pint. But we all know that would make us sick and miserable. The same with boredom. We need it, especially creative people. It's essentially an artist's lifeblood. So the cycle is, you get bored, then your brain tries to cope. So you start daydreaming. You make connections. You start to get ideas. Then you turn those ideas into art. Many artists have talked about this, and not just artists, like the shower effect, and how when your mind is allowed to wander, you come up with great ideas.
Apparently, when your brain is preoccupied by a menial task like a long drive, a short walk, or even doing some simple gardening, you've created the right environment of activity for something called free association. You become less aware of your environment and more aware of your internal thoughts. Apparently, when your brain is working on a problem, it focuses on just a few strategies. According to psychologists, these are like ruts that your mental wheels get stuck in. If you want to have a good idea, you should take breaks so those thought patterns no longer take control of your thinking. So that's why your brain does these things better in the shower and when you least expect it to.
Now, of course, this still happens, but instead of naturally doing this because the amount of media that was open to the masses was so limited, boredom was basically unavoidable. Kind of like junk food. Junk food in the past was avoidable, but now it's inescapable. Originally, I was going to use a drug addict analogy, but at least then hard drugs, it's not something you need to survive. You can avoid it, but you can't avoid food. And the same with the media. Most people need to use their computer or phone, so it takes so much mental willpower and fortitude. I can't blame people for binging the latest season of Squid Game, or watch an endless feed of cats or mukbang videos. But much like so many unintended consequences, we traded our creativity and attention for comfort and convenience. And I think I can't help but see the art that's been produced, the last decade especially, and think this is why. For instance, in the past it was hard coming up with best of the years. Like movies, I could easily come up with the top 25 every year. You look in the past at what came out every year. It was a murderer's row of great movies. Let me pick a random year. 1987. You have Raising Arizona, Princess Bride, Full Metal Jacket, Wall Street, The Untouchables, Predator, RoboCop, Lethal Weapon, Lost Boys, Evil Dead 2, Hellraiser, Broadcast News, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I could keep going, but I think you get the picture. And it's funny because most people consider the 80s not the greatest decade for movies, especially compared to the 70s or 90s. Anyway, you could do this all the way up to the 2010s. But since then, it's like we've been in a creative rut. I'm not saying no good art has been made since then. Good art, like bad art, is inevitable. But you can't tell me the quality and quantity of good art hasn't gone down. And I think you could say the same thing about music and books. And I'm sure some of you can come up with other reasons for this, but you just can't convince me the speed and access to information hasn't had a major impact. Again, our brains cannot deal with not only the sheer amount of information, but the fact that you have entire billion-dollar conglomerates using all their resources and manpower to figure out how to keep and steal your attention.
Because the technology is just going to get better and better, and it's going to get easier and easier and more convenient and more pleasurable to sit alone with images on a screen given to us by people who do not love us but want our money. And that's fine in low doses. But if it's the basic main staple of your diet, you're going to die.
Because as much willpower as you or I might have, I think most people it's impossible to have motivation when you're satisfied. And that's what most media does. It makes you content with content. It's like digital sugar, which is worse than real sugar. Because with digital sugar you feel satisfied. Whereas with regular sugar after a while of eating, you'll get sick. But digital sugar, while you might feel depressed, you're still satisfied. And I've just been talking about creativity and attention. But this has been a detriment to so much more. Like social connections, mental health, and privacy. And I hate to be a pessimist, but I don't think it's gonna get better, especially with AI coming. And as I'm recording this, I realize how depressing this is. Is this video just a downer? Another reminder of the endless stream of negativity? Yes.
It's so gratifying to leave you wallowing in the mess you've made. You're screwed. Thank you. Bye.
Just kidding. There is an answer to this besides the obvious: moderation and scheduling screen-free times. But that's like saying to someone who is portly, diet and exercise.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Obviously, most people with weight problems know they need diet and exercise, but not how to do it. And I have the answer. Unfortunately, it will be in my next video, which I'll give away what it is. It's hobbies.
Marge, my brain is like a computer.